Bharti yesterday has acquired 49% stake in the Qualcomm BWA business for a consideration of $165 million. But has Bharti done the right thing? Because currently it's a problem of plenty for Bharti to 2G TRI recommendations, their dollar-denominated loan, and Zain as a business is just not firing full cylinders. So has Bharti done the right thing? Let's discuss that, and let's analyze that with Harit Shah, Senior Research Analyst with Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities. Harit, morning. Thank you for joining us. In simple terms, has Bharti done the right thing by acquiring 49% stake, which is not even a majority business, in Qualcomm's WA business?
Well, see, I think I guess you're obviously aware that over a period of a couple of years, or I think they'll eventually take full control, subject to certain terms and conditions. After that, I think Qualcomm will exit the business. But having said that, I think I think from a strategic perspective, this is important from the point of view of attempting to obviously leverage the data opportunity in the country, which is at this point, admittedly, it is very much at a nascent stage. I mean, they're not really seeing significant takeoff at this point. 3G is still something that remains, to be monetized. There's a long way to go on that front. But, I think as and when, the market goes, into a more mature phase, I think you should see the data revenue start to pick up. And to some extent, it is also, in a sense, more competitive against, let's say, a player like RIL, which has obviously BWA spectrum across the country. So now with this acquisition of Bharti, will be having BWA spectrum in 8 circles. So at least in some sense, you might say that this could, to some extent, maybe put Reliance RIL's aggressiveness in check to, because of this, particular acquisition, and because they've got much more scale now with the BWA acquisition of Qualcomm.
Harit, hi, morning. But how do you see the value for the deal, considering it will add more debt to the books of Bharti?
Yeah, obviously. So from that angle, you may see a short-term blip, in terms of financials. But I guess to some extent, because of the fact that spectrum is so valuable in what is, we are obviously a spectrum-starved country. And obviously the government is trying to, maximize that maybe, through charging higher reserve prices for spectrum. So to some extent, maybe we shouldn't be entirely surprised by this factor.
But have they done the right thing by acquiring 49% stake? Because if you only acquire 49% stake, you don't have to consolidate the numbers in your balance sheet, and you will still treat that as an investment?
See, I don't, in any case, this venture may still take a little bit of time to earn any revenue whatsoever. I mean, there's still time, in terms of launching the network. They've launched in a couple of cities already, but, over a period of time, they'll launch in other circles. But like I said, in a couple of years, they will eventually take the stake up to 100%. So I think this is, like I said, it's very much, a longer-term structure, as a longer-term deal, and eventually they will get 100%. So I don't think it's something I would really be too concerned about at this point in time. I think more importantly, we should look at, like I said, the strategic intent behind the deal.
Harit, how soon do you expect Bharti to launch its 4G operations in Mumbai as well as Delhi? And would Bharti now be able to take on Reliance Infotel's proposed 4G launch as well? I mean, is the first mover advantage key to the success for 4G?
See, I think 4G will still take, a lot of time to pick up. At this point, I mean, look, like I said earlier, that even 3G is something that hasn't really come anywhere near, recovering the exorbitant prices that they paid in the 3G auction. So, I think to that extent, 4G will also take, I think at least a 3 to 5 year story. I don't really see anything happening initially. So, I mean, first of all, you need a proper, like LTE as a technology is still not fully developed globally. We are seeing incremental launches across the world. So that is a positive factor, but it will still take time. And secondly, eventually the initial subscription cost also, in terms of either a handset or in terms of a dongle, all that has to obviously come down. And also you need, a proper ecosystem as well in terms of content. So that has not even happened yet in 3G. So from a 4G perspective, I really don't think that. So that's what I'm going to say, that this acquisition is very much from a strategic perspective. You need to look at least at a 3 to 5 year horizon. You're not really anything in the next 1 or 2 years. I'm not really expecting anything right now. But in the near term, are you a bit worried about Bharti's total dollar exposure? They are sitting on a fat $6 billion dollar-denominated debt, and given the way how rupee has cracked against the dollar, Bharti for the current quarter could report a huge forex loss? Yeah, see, it's quite clear that these for the export, the ECB loans, the dollar-denominated loans for Bharti, and for that matter, I think not just Bharti. I think you see a number of other companies in the market and other sectors also, which are going to be fairly adversely impacted. While obviously in the short term, you obviously, like let's say maybe in this quarter you may have losses which would impact your net income. I think a more concerning factor would obviously be if the rupee stays at lower levels, at these 54, 56, 57 levels. If that happens and at the time of repayment of the loans, then that would obviously have an impact on the cash flow. So whether you pay it back through cash flow or whether you refinance the debt, you will still have a greater amount in rupee terms on your books. So that is the greater concern in my view. So at the time of repayment, if the rupee is still at higher levels or at lower levels, then that would be a bigger concern for me.